I mean, we can talk about that now. I think there is this sort of built-in audience. The question is, will the audience want to pay in a certain way? I feel like maybe that's a little bit of the rub about how do the festivals, how will they continue? Like, it might be a little different for us maybe in some of the bigger cities, but in some small cities that have gay and lesbian film festivals, and I think it was Steve Gutwillock who said to me once that there's the single biggest kind of film festival in the country is the Gay and Lesbian Film Festival. There are more gay and lesbian film festivals than any other kind of film festival. And the question is, will those festivals in Fresno and in Toledo or in, you know, all these little cities that we think about, will those exist, or will we only have it in the big cities? But it's also like for us in Newfest, and maybe I'd ask Kirsten to comment, is in terms of just ticket sales, that's one thing, but we need more than the ticket sales. And do you think the audiences are going to step up, our communities? What do we need to do to connect to our community to step up and understand that we need them to make these festivals continue?
Well, I want to address the thing that you said about the smaller festivals, festivals in smaller towns, because I actually think that they have, in some ways, a better chance of survival than the festivals in the bigger towns, because in smaller towns, it's sort of dire need. It is the place. It is really the place to come together for community. I know you said that Outfest is the sort of most happening cultural thing in Los Angeles in the LGBT world, and in some ways that is true. But in other ways there is tons of other stuff to do. But in a smaller town, it's not quite as true. Plus, I think that homophobia is more intense in a smaller town, and therefore it's more needed.
This entire business, by the way, is predicated on small town consumers.
Right. We heard some statistics once about like Blockbuster rentals of LGBT films, and they make tons of money in now that Blockbuster actually puts the gay movies into their stores in smaller towns, which they didn't for a while. They make a lot of money off of them. And then to your other question, I think that there's a little bit of a divide between what audiences want and what artists are making. And I think that one of our challenges is around sort of educating audiences. And it seems like it's a little bit of a condescending word, but it's the best thing I can sort of come up with is, people tend to want what's easy or what's familiar. Like they want to see, or they think they want to see, naked guys hooking up and falling in love, and they don't necessarily, they think that they don't necessarily want to see the more experimental or non-traditional film, and so everybody gravitates towards the like 3 or 4 sexy films with stars, and the other films kind of don't get as much attention. And I think as we move forward, one of our challenges is around getting audiences more interested in that art, the art of the filmmaking, and especially when we live in a world where we're sort of bombarded with these, big studio movies, and we've stopped as an American culture, I think, cultivating that other kind of movie-going audiences. We are experiencing that in the LGBT world.
I think a marketing field like Programmers Picks is maybe something that festivals should do more of.
I was wondering if at the Gay and Lesbian Film Festivals, do you get a lot of mainstream festival programmers coming to your festivals to look for gay and lesbian content? Because, in terms of the mainstream festivals like, Sundance and Slamdance, we present, kind of what's out there this year, and if there happens to be a great many, well-made, awesome gay and lesbian films, they're going to get in, because they're great films. And Sundance and Slamdance, we don't have a gay or lesbian section. Everything is there, and the audience comes, and they come and see the film, and they experience it, and it's a reflection of America and the world, straight, black, gay, lesbian, whatever. And I'm wondering if a lot of at the Gay and Lesbian Film Festivals, are there a lot of programmers coming looking for great films and programming them, whether it's Tennessee or wherever. I'm just curious.
I was going to answer there's actually 7 of us here which is a mixture of the film festivals and TLA, because we're programming for the Philadelphia International Film Festival, we're programming for the Philadelphia Gay and Lesbian Film Festival, We're also going to do, if anybody's a filmmaker, we've actually got funding to put money into distribution for 4K scripts this year. And we're also picking up new content that doesn't have a distributor. There's actually 7 of us here. So we're the kind of weird model in terms of, and then we go to Toronto. I mean, you were saying that nobody's going to Berlin because of economics from the New Fest, but we're actually sending 2 people who do the TLAvideo.com site and also program for TLA Releasing and also program for the Philadelphia Gay and Lesbian Film Festival. So we're a kind of weird model here, just because we're corporate and non-profit. So, and all of us, I think I'm going to answer for all of us here, all of us go to Toronto and certainly Sundance and Sundance, and I think most of you also go to Berlin. And Cannes, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that at our particular festivals, at our festival, we do have a lot of programmers who come. But they're mostly, the programs from all the other 80 international lesbian and gay film festivals, but also distributors and acquisitions folks. So there's a mixture of people there looking at the films.
And how about in LA, because it's such a industry town, you get so many industry people who are gay who come to the festivals anyway, just as people. Not as they're doing business, wearing their business hats, but how does that work? Is it?
Lots of programmers from other festivals, definitely straight friends and colleagues of our major donors and sort of core constituents. And I think that people are coming both for the sort of social aspect of it, because it's fun. It's fun to do with gays. And also coming to look for talent, coming to look for writers, directors, actors, etc.
Something about Fresno. I just want to note that I think this is still the case. That Fresno is the 4th largest entertainment consuming part of the United States. That was a statistic from a couple years ago.
When I was on the Outfest board, we had a program where we went to Fresno and basically partners with them to help them start up their festival, I guess would be the way to characterize it. And we sort of took a trip up, a bunch of us, and were there for the festival. And it was one of the most pleasant experiences I ever had before the board. People really wanted to see the movies. They really, really wanted to see it. And when you go to Fresno, you'll know why. It's really, there, you need that. Sorry. Wasn't intended in a, but I mean, truly, I think that really speaks to what Kirsten was saying about this, and I think that's a really interesting, because I didn't think of it that way, that I thought, maybe it was going to be a lot harder for those smaller festivals to run, but so many of them are run by volunteers. They're not really staff-driven festivals, and I think, there are books written about the sort of not-for-profit model of how organizations start with volunteers, and then they get staffed, and then the board becomes people who raise money and are guiding and not running the actual credit cards through the machine, which, people do now as board members.
The smaller festivals in the smaller towns are also not competing against, in LA, just as LA has got AFI, downtown, then a bunch of other, in New York, you've got Tribeca right before your festival.
New York is like a film festival every week.
Yeah.
San Francisco's kind of like
I see that people have some hands up, but I just wanted to make sure, did you want to talk about anything else before we go into the, yeah.
I think we should talk about a few more things.
Yes.
Okay, one thing I want to touch on what Kirsten said, that in terms of getting audiences to, I think this is such an important topic, of getting audiences to not just go for the bubble butt movies. I say that with love. And it's funny because I remember when you guys showed the way I see things, and I think Elvis is always really pretty brilliant about showing films that are not the obvious choices, and that audiences really love if they actually go. And the question is how to get them to go, and I think that really there needs to be a constant discussion of marketing and programming working together to get audiences in those films. And I do think things like, when you go to Amoeba, you're curious, okay, so what do the people who work here want me to, listen to? Or, what do the DJs, and I think that maybe there's got to be even more further sexing up of what programmers are insisting that people check out.